Okay, call the meeting to order.
All right, we'll begin with the reading of the Open Public Meetings Act statement. On January 25th, 2023, notice of this meeting was placed on the official Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency website and emailed to both the Carrier Post and Gloucester City News newspapers for publication. The official notice to Borough Clerk was emailed on January 25th, 2023, which included a request for posting of the notice to the official Borough Bellmawr website and bulletin board. All requirements of the Open Publics Meeting Act have been met in compliance with the Sunshine Law. Brings us to the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
To the
to
flag,
the flag of the
United States of America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice
liberty
for
and
all.
justice for all.
All right,
Hi, Tom.
brings us
Present.
to roll call.
Aye.
Chairman Frank Philippek,
Here.
Vice Chair Bider,
Here.
Commissioner D'Angelo, Commissioner Kapados, Commissioner Whitman,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Patel, and Commissioner Simpson.
Here.
All right, Josh Regier, Executive Director. I am here. Mike McKenna,
Present.
Agency Solicitor. He is here. Dennis McNulty, Agency Engineer.
Present.
Got you. All right. Standard agenda for this evening, and begin with the reading of minutes from the previous meeting.
Make a motion to
which
approve.
regular meeting November 8th, 2023. I have Mr. Bider on the motion.
Second it.
There's Chairman Philippek on the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Communications, we did receive the reports from both the redeveloper and the traffic engineer. Mike, I'm sure we'll cover the redeveloper's report. As for the traffic engineer's report, in addition to his quarterly report, he included the latest traffic impact study concerning the Creek Road Connector and the Leaf Avenue Extension project. And that was emailed out to you guys this morning separately because it was a larger file from the one email that has all the information. So, I don't think there's any surprises there. Things are moving and doing. All parties are working to.
I was going to print it till I saw 200 pages.
Yeah. So
we had to deal with that at the planning board, right?
Right.
And I saw a lot of members had printed it. I was impressed with the fact that they printed it. Councilman Wilhelm had printed it and asked questions right from the middle of the text. So it is a I didn't print it out. So no shame there.
It's voluminous to say the
least.
least.
It's crazy. It's good to know he's on the job though.
Brings us to commissioner reports. If anybody has anything, please speak. All right, move right into the executive director's report, covering the key items. As you guys know, we did certified audit 21 and 2022 last month. After that, I had to make the rounds to get signatures and have all those materials sent up to the state, along with proof of publication, which the legal ads for both, or legal notices for both, ran respectively for both audits in both the Carrier Post and Gloucester City News newspapers. So they were included with that package, and happy to say, after all the issues with the transfer of the financial data and not having the Edmund system at the beginning, the agency's now completely current with the state. So that brings us to budget 2024. Want to intro that tonight. I am working with Bowman to rechart some accounts, just because a lot of them are the same accounts that were used at the inception of the agency, which was basically guessing, and some of those accounts are just no longer relevant. For example, it was always envisioned that the environmental insurance policy that the agency would have would be always funded by the redeveloper, but it would be paid by the agency to the insurance broker. But that has since changed, and that was one dedicated account that we'll no longer need. So that's just an example. With that, we'll look to adopt at the reorg meeting in January 2024. That's pending approval back from the state during that time, which should not be an issue. And as far as reorg, we'll look to the 3rd or 4th Tuesday of January, and I won't be able to schedule that. Just Ray, if you could make a note to just ensure that there's
Our reorg is January 5th.
Yeah, but if you could just make a note to ensure that there's an actual appointment resolutions on the agenda for the, because you and Jimmy, if you plan on being reappointed, you would have to via resolution at the reorg. And
Okay.
it's for a 1-year term. So I know we've been through this over the last few years, but I think ultimately, just because it is a mayoral appointment, it is best to do a reorg, and that way, after that, we'll know who.
No problem.
I assume Jimmy is gonna do it again. So anyway, I usually send an email out to Franny as well. So. And that just brings us to professional service contracts. Again, the approval to release the RFP was authorized last month, and that was posted. Actually, that's a typo. It should be 11/28. Submittals are due by January 5th at 5 o'clock, and then, as always, they're awarded at the reorg meeting. Any questions from me before I turn it over to Mike?
No.
Floor is yours, Mike.
Thanks. Well, good evening, folks, and happy holidays. If I forget my manners and don't say it at the end, but we have the redevelopers report in front of us, and candidly, I'm a little embarrassed that it took me so long to think of this idea that you'll see reflected in this. I mean, some time ago, Josh and I came to the conclusion that rather than these hit or miss topical, occasional intermittent reports we were getting on different subjects, we asked the redeveloper to give us a monthly. And he has been studious. Sometimes it's at the last minute, and I know it's a burden, but he's gotten them to us. But over the last year or so, I have found myself parsing through it to find the new stuff. And sometimes I think, I wouldn't blame y'all for not reading it every month because so much of it is recycled, but it's appropriate because that shows what has been done. So I asked Don this month, hey, why don't you start bolding the new? It'll help me, which saves you money. And it might encourage the board members to go to the report to see what's new. So he's done it. And I apologize for not thinking of it sooner, because it's just a really good way for you all to get the information and for me to cull from this what new needs reporting. Okay, so we'll be doing that going forward. Not that everything in bold is important, but it is new. I got a telephone call from Howard Long this week, wondering from one of the council people who is, they're all diligent in keeping an eye on the project. Hey, what's with the dirt going in? And we knew on this, at the agency level, we knew that they had gotten DEP approval to begin the final cap, and that's what was going on. And I was able to share with Howard, not only that, and this is the first bold, right, in this first paragraph and second paragraph. And when I saw that, and I saw them mention the word millings, I said, Howard, not for nothing, but I'm going to need to see that the DEP has approved that. And just like in all these other issues, I ask, I get, and I think I even shared it with Dennis as well. Milling sometimes has a bad reputation, and I just wanted to make sure that they were happy with it. So we're staying on it, but development work is proceeding. They're in that final cap phase, and that's a good thing. Now at the bottom, we see something in bold that is not in my swing path, nor this agency's swing path. And the council, mayor and council have always understood that certain things we are primary, not exclusive, but primary. and certain things they are primary. The traffic and the pilot, the economic issues, pilots, RABs, and all that are councils and their lead. And I have deferred, although kept my ear to the rail. So this is informational only. We don't have much to do with traffic. There's too many cooks in that kitchen already. Going down to the land use board paragraph. When I was reading this, I had an idea, and it's this. I will get you the resolution of the joint land use board that I drew after a fairly lengthy meeting and an even longer period where they were submitting to the land use board. And our engineer, Dennis, and the council's engineer, Steve, and the board's engineer, Steve, we were vetting it, tinkering with it, asking them to do this and that before it even got to be a final product. So in the end, that approval was simplified, but simply because we got them to do what we wanted them to do and not what we didn't want them to do. But I'd like to get this agency a copy of the resolution. And I'll tell you why. We're going to get to a place down below where it says the redeveloper has reaffirmed. Okay, I want you all to understand that when I took my agency hat off and put my land use board hat on, I was still on mission for the same goals. And we have a disagreement about development approvals. Luckily, I'm dealing the cards. So what we said goes, and what I said at the board level and in the approval was that the park and the logistics center have different approvals. The park doesn't need all the approvals that the logistics center has. And we weren't prepared to tweak exactly what they were, but I put it in the resolution that it is not for the park and the logistics center. So I'll get you that, and we will see. And Ray Bider had brought up that the issue that I foresaw has already loomed its ugly head with respect to Green Acres. Now, Green Acres absolutely has to be in hand before we can start the park, because the construction of the park and the permission to do it is a Green Acres jurisdictional issue. We got to have that. It's the fundamental reason why we did the subdivision, and it's the only way you can do the park because it's the only way we can do the diversion. However, we do know we have a preliminary approval. It's just a process with a state agency. So that's probably enough said there. My job as solicitor to both of those boards, and I put this in the resolution, is not only to see that they get the approvals that are needed for the park before they start park construction, but to pursue them diligently and to keep the agency, the board, and the council advised. And I intend to do that. And they know I will. So that little paragraph there, there's lots in that. A lot of thought going on, a lot of moving parts going on. And I'm not going to, on that, I can't back down. I've got to make sure that we worked with them. We let them do their site improvements at their own risk, no vertical construction, contemporaneously with starting the park. Why? Because we've got the stuff on site. But what I said in my resolution was provided it doesn't delay the park. I just don't want the commencement of the park delayed because of some approval that's only needed for the logistics center. In some places, guys, it is going to be hard to tell which is which, because in order to grade the park, which is down below, the grading on the site has to be done too. So we're going to be reasonable about it. You know, we are working arm in arm here, but I do not want to take my foot off the gas. The primacy of the park in terms of sequencing will remain, and I'll do it my level best to be reasonable about it, but to ensure that a deal's a deal. All right, turning, I'm not looking for much more. Redeveloper, Deptford, they've got their work cut out for them there. It's my sense that Deptford is leveraging, you know, I'm in a public meeting, and I have friends in Deptford, but Deptford is leveraging their land use approvals in the pilot negotiations. It's out of my hands. Everybody's working on that. Howard's aware of it, and Howard's got a cadre of experts at his disposal, and they're working very hard. That's really, this deal with the land use is going to go on until they have a deal, and then the land use is going to go like that. The Green Acres, apparently they're just having problems with surveys. I can imagine that it is a horrific survey to finalize. We've seen the draft. I'm never going to come to this agency and ask for approval to go to closing without a perfect draft, reviewed both by council through Steve and by the agency through Dennis. But for now, Green Acres is the one pushing for the perfect survey so that they can know what we're doing as we carve off the Green Acres, and they're going to want to make sure they get enough that acreage that we promised them. They can only do that by a survey. You got the subdivisions at Boring because that's already done. I don't think you have much more bold work, folks, in the rest of this. I can tell you, sometimes I feel some sympathy or at least empathy for Developers Council. I mean, I do keep my foot on the gas with him, but he really, really is fighting on a lot of fronts and advancing the ball. And that's why I want to see progress in each of these areas every month through goals. And now you'll see it too. That's pretty much all I have. I am satisfied that we are progressing, although the pace probably seems glacial. We are progressing on nearly all fronts.
All right, any questions for Mike before we move to new business?
Thanks for your job, Mike. Good job.
Yeah, the bold really helps.
Sorry, I should have thought of it before. I really should have.
All right, that brings us to new business. 3 items on the agenda. They all are roll calls. We'll begin with resolution number 12:039-23, authorizing narrative on annual budget introduction 2024 to local finance board.
I'll make a motion.
I second the motion.
All right, thank you, Mr. Whitman. Do a roll call. Chairman Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bider,
Yes,
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, brings us to resolution number 12:040-23, approving introduction of operations budget 2024.
I'll make a
I
motion.
make a motion.
I got Mr. Bider on the motion. Just need a second.
I'll second it.
Is that you again, Tom?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Brings us again to a roll call. Chairman Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bider,
Yes,
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, final item this evening, resolution number 12:041-23, authorizing payment of outstanding bills.
I make a motion, we pay our bill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Whitman. Have a second.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Brings us to a roll call. Chairman Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bider,
yes.
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, that concludes new business. Brings us to the public portion. I do not believe anybody's on the line, but I'll give that 3-second delay as I always do. Concludes the public portion. Brings us to an adjournment.
I'll make a motion. We adjourn.
All
Second,
right. Was that you, Ray?
yeah,
All right, Mr. Bider on the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it. All right, gentlemen, thank you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and look for some information from me regarding reorg.